In the last period, we have seen some of the problems which are related to the finding the formula. So let us move forward and find out some formulas for you people. Let's move forward, my dear students, and let us understand how to get it done. So let's start with this problem. Let me read the question for you. I hope you can see the screen properly, my dear students. Do you have any problem seeing the screen? Is there anyone who is facing any problem in looking into the screen? Can you see the screen well, my dear student?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good one, good one. Thank
Sir.
you. Now, let's understand. I'm reading a question for you. A cubic solid is made of two elements P and Q. Atoms of Q are at the corners. So these all are actually Q. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1 is at the back of it, 8. So these all are the Q atoms and P at the body center. This is your P. This atom is your P. So now you can see that this P is in contact with how many Q? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So we can say that the coordination number is equal to 8 because each Q is in contact with each P is in contact with 8 other Q, and that is why the coordination number is absolutely 8. Now we know that, my dear student, that each such cubic unit cell is in contact with 8 other cubic unit cell. Each such cubic unit cell is in contact with 8 other cubic unit cell, and that is why we have only 1/8 part of it over here. This is the 1/8 part. So this particular particle is shared with 8 other cubic units. This is shared with 7 other unit cell. So that means this 1/8 part which is in contact with this unit cell, the 1/8 part of it which is in contact with this body centered, same way it is in contact with 7 other body centered particle also. So this particular particle which is present at the corner, my dear students, it is also in contact with 8 other particles. And that is why the coordination number of both P and Q will be, the coordination number for both P and Q will be 8. So here we can say that the coordination number for this particle is 8 only. So we can understand the coordination number 8 for both P and Q. For both P and Q. So now we have realized the coordination number. Now we want to think about, my dear students, now we want to think about the formula of the compound. So when it comes to the formula of the compound, you can look into this particular unit cell. You can see that at each corner we have 8 parts. So at each corner, as we have 8 various parts, my dear students, we can have 1/8 of 8, that is equal to 1 of our Q. And this is what it is, P, which is already present 1 inside the cubic cell. So if we take the ratio P is to Q is equal to 1 is to 1, and that is why we can write the formula PQ, like NaCl or HCl, like NaCl, HCl, or KCl. It is PQ formula, that is what we can understand for this particular compound. Now let us see what does the text says and revise it, whatever we have discussed. Because whatever we have discussed, that is what I have written into the text so that we can understand it well. So let us understand, or let us revise the text. What does the text says? Let us look into it. Let's have a look into the text. Here in this case, total number of atoms in a unit cell, here in this case, total number of atoms in a unit cell is 2 because it is body-centered unit cell. So 1 at the center and 8 into 1 by 8 at 8 corners, which is equal to 1. So 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 total. So we have total 2 atoms present per unit cell. It is clearly written that 1 from the 8 corners and 1 at the body center. So we can say that the formula should be PQ. And now my dear students, we can realize, but coordination number of P is equal to 8. You can easily see the coordination number. So coordination number of P is equal to 8 and Q is equal to 8 as atoms at body center is in contact with 8 atoms at the corners, and such corner atom is shared with 8 unit cell with 1 atom at the center, and that is why we can understand about the coordination number. Now my dear students, we are going to discuss a very important point which is known as the packing efficiency. So let us study about packing efficiency. Actually we have seen that if we go into the two-dimension structures, this is what we have studied in our previous classes, my dear students, that generally what happens, we have arrangement or packing in two dimension. If we look into packing in two dimension, we have seen square packing and we have seen the hexagonal packing. Here in this case, my dear students, we have observed that this has coordination number is equal to 4 and this has coordination number 6. So we came to a conclusion that this packing, hexagonal close packing, has a better efficiency. So actually we are trying to tell it has got better packing efficiency. This efficiency, what we were talking about is packing efficiency. When it comes to instead of two dimension, my dear students, if we think of three dimension, we have seen two type of close packing. One was our HCP, hexagonal cubic close packing, and or you can say it is a let us say so my dear students, this is what it is, packing efficiency which I was trying to make you understand, that if you understand this packing efficiency, in case of the two dimension, we have seen that in two dimension we have two type of close packing. One is hexagonal close packing and another one is cubic close packing. When it comes to the hexagonal close packing, we have AB kind of arrangement, but when it comes to the cubic close packing, we have ABC type of arrangement. My dear students, when we have AB type of arrangement, we actually arrange the particles just in this manner, which you can see in this particular figure, my dear students. So when you look into this kind of arrangement, you will see that in HCP or hexagonal close packing, we have only two layers arranged, and these layers are nothing but your, this is what it is, layer A, and this is what it is, layer B. Then the third layer what you make is very similar to A, and that is why this kind of arrangement is known as the AB, AB, AB kind of arrangement. In this kind of arrangement, these octahedral voids remains open. These all void remains open. These voids we cannot cover it, and that is why these voids remains open, my dear students. Remains open. And when this void remains open, my dear students, we can say that there is more voids. There are more voids. And when it comes to the more voids, my dear students, the packing efficiency is less. So my dear students, we can say that packing efficiency is inversely proportional to the voids. So my dear students, when it comes to the voids, packing efficiency is inversely proportional to the voids. It simply means that more are the voids, less would be the packing efficiency. That means packing efficiency is nothing but the proper arrangement of particles, so that when we arrange these particles, they are arranged in such a way that we get maximum area of the unit cell covered with the particles, not with the void. So this is how we understand the packing efficiency. Let us move forward and understand about the packing efficiency for the various unit cell, and we will come to know their packing efficiency. So let's move forward and understand the packing efficiency question. Now let's look at the question and let's try to answer this question. Calculate the efficiency of here we are supposed to calculate the efficiency of, in case of a metal crystal, for we want to study for the various metal crystals, my dear students. One is a simple cubic unit cell, then body centered, then face centered unit cell. So we want to calculate the packing efficiency for these three type of unit cell with assumption that atoms are touching each other. So we need to assume that all these atoms are touching each other. So now let us answer this question. In whatever way the constituent particle, that means atoms, molecules or ions are arranged, there is always some space in the form of voids. So whatever the way you arrange these particles, there will always some voids. Packing efficiency is the percentage of total space filled by the particles. So my dear students, when we study about the packing efficiency, actually we study about the percentage of total space filled by the particles. So we actually understand the total space filled by the particles by actually calculating the packing efficiency of a particular unit cell. Packing efficiency in hexagonal close packing and cubic close packing structures. So first we want to study about them. Both type of packing efficiency are equally efficient. So please remember that packing efficiency for hexagonal close packing and cubic close packing, they have equal packing efficiency, or they are equally efficient. Now let's calculate the packing efficiency for cubic close packing. So let us understand it. for cubic close packing, my dear students. You can see the figure here. In this figure, my dear student, you will understand the arrangement well. So let us look into the figure. Here you can see the figure on your screen, my dear students, that you can see that at each corner, so this is the atom which is present at the corner. This is the atom which is present exactly at the opposite corner. And this is what it is, the atom or a molecule or a particle that is present at the phase center. So this is how we understand this. We have just shown those atoms which are needed to calculate the packing efficiency. All the other atoms we have not actually described here. So this is how you can see. Now what happens? We have this cubic cell, which is the face-centered cubic unit cell, my dear students. And in this face-centered cubic unit cell, we have this, all the atoms are arranged. So you can see that there are 8 corners: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. There are 8 corners. We, for just calculation purpose, we draw a diagonal AC so that we can understand the required calculation well. And we have joined the centers of these particles which are present at corner A to corner C. At the same time, the particle which is present at the face center, its center is also joined by this particular line. Now let us understand and calculate the packing efficiency for this particular uh, unit cell, my dear students. So let us understand it and calculate the packing efficiency well. Now let us look into the various calculations so that we can understand it well, my dear students. Please have a look to it and we will understand it well. So let us move forward and understand the packing efficiency well. I have just moved somewhere else, so troubling or creating trouble for you even, but I'll just get back to the same one. Okay. So now let us solve this problem. As shown in the figure, my dear students, as shown in the figure, unit cell AB is equal to A. This distance AB, we consider it as a A. So this distance, we consider it as a A, which is the side of the cube or edge of the cube. AC, you can see this AC, yes. This AC is a diagonal. Now, my dear students, if you really understand it, this AC, you will come to know that this AC is made up of joining the various centers. So let us look into the, see, this center to this is your 1R. Then, my dear students, we have next one. This is your another R. Then, my dear students, let's look into the next one. This is even your R. And then if you look into the last one, my dear students, then you have this one as an R. This to the center of this. So if we really look into, not actually this, but I'll have to show it, but this portion. This portion, my dear student, so this portion is one of your R, and so you can see that, dear student, that AC is equal to actually 4R. This is 1R, this is second R, this is third R, and this is 4R. These all are the radius of this particle. So my dear students, you can see that this diagonal AC is equal to 1R, this is 1R. Then this 2R, which is the diagonal of this, uh, not diagonal, but this is the diameter of this sphere, and then the last one R. So total it is 4R. So my dear students, you can understand that AB is equal to A, AC is equal to 4R. That is what we can write it very easily for all these calculations. Now, my dear students, we want to understand some other calculations. If we look into the triangle ABC, you can see that this is your triangle ABC, ABC. So this is what it was your A. This is even your A, my dear students. This length, which is an edge of the unit cell, which is A, and this angle beta is this is 90-degree angle. So your triangle ABC is a right angle triangle, and for this right angle triangle we can write AB square plus BC square is equal to AC square. Now this AB is equal to A, so AB square is equal to A square. BC is also equal to A, so your BC square is equal to A square, and AC is your 4R, so it is 4R square. So this is how, my dear students, we can write that 2A square is equal to 4 square, that is 16, 4 square, that is 16, my dear students. 4 square, that is 16R square. This is what we can write it easily, that 2A square is equal to 16R square. Therefore, A square is equal to, my dear students, therefore, A square is equal to, let me write it here, A square is equal to 16 by 2 R square. And 16 by 2 gives us 8. So I have written A square is equal to 8 R square. Now we know that 8 is equal to 2 into 2 into 4. So if I write square root of 8, actually I write square root of 2 into 4, which is square root of 2 multiplied by 2. And therefore A is equal to, here I can write A is equal to square root of 8R square. My dear students, I can write it here, A is equal to square root of 8R square. From this equation, my dear students, I should write it over here. From this equation, I can write A is equal to square root of 8R square. A square root of 8 is equal to 2 root 2. So instead of 8, I have written 2 root 2 and R square. Square root of R square is equal to R. So my dear students, A square is equal to 8R square. Therefore, A is equal to 2 root 2R. And therefore, R is equal to 1 upon 2 root 2A. So here we find the formula for R, and your R is equal to 1 upon 2 root 2A. Now, my dear students, in CCP structure, total number of atom in the unit cell is equal to 4. So we know that 8 at corners, 8 into 1 by 8, that is equal to 1 at corners, and at 6 faces 1 by 2, that is equal to 3, and therefore 3 plus 1 is equal to 4 atoms per unit cell are present into a face-centered unit cell. 1 at corner and 3 at faces. And therefore space occupied by 4 atom is equal to 4 multiplied by volume of each sphere. So my dear students, volume of each sphere multiplied by 4 is equal to the total space occupied by the 4 atoms. But these 4 spheres are actually arranged into the cubic arrangement, and volume of cube is equal to the cube of its size. So the edge is A, and that is why the volume of cube is equal to A cube. So now what is the total packing efficiency? That means how much space is being occupied by these spheres or these particles which we have arranged them into the cubic unit cell, and let us find out what fraction of that particular cubic cell is being covered by the various particles, and by multiplying them with 100, my dear students, by multiplying them with 100, we can find out this packing efficiency into the percentage. So what we will do to calculate the packing efficiency, we will first write the volume of for sphere divided by volume of cube. So this is what it gives us, the part of cube that is being occupied by 4 sphere, and when we multiply it with 100, we get it the percentage. So now 4 sphere, that means 4, volume of each sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube divided by a cube. Now this 4 into 4 gives us 16. This pi is written as usual. These 3 I have written into the denominator. This r cube is written as usual. And we know that, my dear students, that a is equal to 2 root 2 r. We have only derived this relationship that a is equal to 2 root 2 r. You can see here that a is equal to 2 root 2 r. This relation we have already derived. So by using this relation, we will put 2 root 2 r instead of a, and that is having the power of 3, and here we have the number 100. Now, my dear students, by opening this bracket, we will come to know, we will have 16, then pi, then r cube, this 100 we have written over here, then 3, then 2 cube is 8, this is 2, and cube is 8, then root 2 cube, that means root 2 into root 2 into root 2, root 2 into root 2 is 2, and again root 2, and again this r cube is r cube. So this r cube and r cube gives us 1. We can multiply this 8 into 2 to get 16, and this 16 divided by 16 will also give us 1. So what we finally have, my dear student, is that we have pi left with us, then we have 100 left with us, and at the denominator we have 3 root 2 left with us. So finally we get pi multiplied by 100. Finally, we get pi multiplied by 100, pi multiplied by 100 divided by 3 root 2. Now, for pi, we write 3.14, and pi multiplied by 100, we will write 314, and divided by 3 root 2. My dear students, for your information, 3 we will write 3, but for root 2 we can write 1.41, and by solving this, we will get 74%. So dear students, the packing efficiency of our face-centered unit cell is 74%. Now my dear students, we want to study the packing efficiency in body-centered cubic unit cell. So let us find out the packing efficiency in body-centered unit cell. So you can see now, my dear students, in the figure that this is the cell, this is the particle which is present at the body center. Body center. These two are the particles which are present at the corners. So you can see I have already shown you the particles present at the corners. You can see these two particles are present at the corners. Now I have chosen two very specific particles. Which particles have I chosen? You just look into this. That I have chosen those particles which are actually making the, or which are present actually at the opposite corner of a diagonal. So I have chosen those particles which are present exactly at the opposite corners so that we can draw a diagonal. So here, my dear students, you can easily see a diagonal, and this, using this diagonal, my dear students, we can understand lots of things. So let us see that, let me tell you that this diagonal, my dear student, is joining the exactly opposite corners. Let me show you here so that you can understand it well. Let me draw it once again for you. You can see that this is the cubic unit cell. This is the cubic unit cell, my dear students. Now, what kind of corners we have chosen? Let us just have a look to it. We have chosen this corner, and then we have chosen this corner. Please understand, these two are the exactly opposite corners that we have chosen, and the particle which are present at the body center touches both these corners, and that is how we have shown this particle. So you can see that, my dear student, that here we have this particle and this particle which are present, and now we want to understand something else that I will explain you. Please pay attention well. So my dear students, you can see that we have a particular unit cell here. You can see this unit cell on your screen. I hope it is clearly visible. दिख रहा है बच्चों आपको? कि नहीं दिख रहा है?
Yes, sir.
Should I take the
Yes,
black one?
yes.
Yes, sir.
I hope it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can see that now I have this corner. I am choosing this corner and this corner. So I'm going to join them this way. So if you really look at, we can make one particular. So now you can see that, and now I'll show you what are the various edges that we have. So this is what it is, your A. This is A. This is even A, my dear student. This is even A. This is even A. This is even A, and this is even A. So first of all, we should find out the length of this one. So you can see this, all these corners are 90 degree. So you can see that this is the hypotenuse for a particular, this is the hypotenuse. Now when it comes to this hypotenuse, if let us say, my dear student, that this is triangle A, B and C, and this triangle ABC I will show you here separately. So this is your triangle, your BC is the hypotenuse. So this is BC, this is A, this value is A, this value is A. So what we should write, AB square plus AC square is equal to BC square. Now what is AB square? AB square is equal to A to the power square. Then again AC is also A power 2 is equal to BC square. That means A square plus A square is equal to BC square. Therefore BC square is equal to 2A square, and therefore BC is equal to square root of 2A square, that is square root of 2 into A. So this length, my dear students, is nothing but your square root of 2 into A. Now, my dear student, you can see this BC. Then, my dear students, let us put D here. So now we have the another triangle that I am talking about. Please pay attention to the next triangle which I am going to tell you about is this triangle. This triangle is DBA. So my dear students, let us have the triangle DBA. In triangle DBA, you can see this is A. This BC is square root of 2A. Square root of 2 into A. Now we want to find out this. So we can write BD square plus BA square is equal to DA square. Now what is your value of BD? BD is A to the power 2. Then BA is equal to square root of 2 into A to the power 2 is equal to DA square. Therefore, A square is A square, square root 2 square is 2, and A square is A square is equal to DA square, my dear students. That is equal to 3A square is equal to DA square, and therefore, my dear students, DA is equal to square root of 3A square, which is nothing but square root of 3 into A. So this DA, which you find it here, is your square root of 3 into A. The same thing, my dear students, we can see there when we solve this problem. Look at this question now. So, my dear students, you can see that we have discussed the various calculations here, and we were come to know that this side, this particular side, we have just discussed for this particular side is square root of 2 into A, and this side has the length of square root of 3 into A. Now let us solve this problem, and you will understand it very easily. But it is very necessary that you know how this value comes, that how do we put root 3A for this particular availability. So as shown in the figure, my dear students, A is equal to as of the unit cell. R is equal to the radius of the space. Now, my dear students, if you look into this particular region or this particular line, what you realize is that there is a center over here. There is a center over here. This center is the center of the unit cell which is present at the body center. So this is one radius. This is the one radius. Then we have the another radius of the same sphere. This is the another radius. Then, my dear student, we have the next radius that we can see. We can look into the another radius. Look at this. This is another radius, my dear students. This is another radius. And then the last one we can see as this radius. So, my dear students, as we look into this, we have various radius available. So this is 1R, this is 2R, this is 3R, and this is 4R. So here you can see that we have various R's. This is what it is, G. So my dear students, you can see that in triangle EDF, let us have a look to the triangle EDF. In the triangle EDF, my dear student, we can see that in this triangle EDF, this is E, this is D and F. If you look into this, E, D and F, what we see is this is the hypotenuse and this length is A, this length is A. So we can write in triangle EDF, we have triangle E is equal to 90 degree, and that is why we can say that ED square plus EF square is equal to FD square. ED square is equal to A square because ED is equal to A. EF square is also is equal to A square because EF is equal to A, and FD square is your this R plus R. So ED square plus EF square is equal to 2A square is equal to FD square, and that is why FD is equal to square root of 2A. Now, my dear students, we can move forward and understand the another triangle, dear students. So now the next triangle that we want to study is the triangle, my dear student, that is triangle GFD. So this is G, this is F, and this is D. We are going to talk about this triangle GFD, my dear students. So in the triangle GFD, you can see this is A. This length we have already calculated as a square root of 2A. So let us find out, my dear students, in triangle GFD, angle F is 90 degrees. So GF square plus FD square is equal to ZD square. GF is equal to A, FD is equal to square root of 2A square, that is ZD square.